What's good? What's good? In the title of this video, I used the word layman. I do so because I do not have any degrees in philosophy. I have degrees in business, but not philosophy. So I do consider myself a layman, and I'm not as well read as I would like to be on the subject. I'm still young. I'm in my early 30s. I feel compelled to create and learn as I go. I feel the circumstances of the moment is thrusting me into the fire, and I'm going to just have to roll with it. That being said, one philosophical discussion that I think is being covered up by the superficial labels of the capitalism versus communism argument is the idea of property rights. P's are hard to say on this. I need I've noticed P's, property rights. Fundamentally, that is one of the deepest questions that divides the ideologies, and we should stop fighting each other about the more superficial ideas and get really to the core of the matter, which is, do we allow individuals to retain property rights? That starts with the agency of our bodies and our minds and extends to the creation of what those can produce. So I own my body and my mind, my body, my choice, which is why I do not believe companies should drug test. Or rather, at the federal level, drugs should be legal, right? Like freedom. Now, if private companies want to, that's their own prerogative. However, I do believe having that federal mandate and that cultural stigma pushes a lot of companies to adopt the conservative approach of just drug testing. And I think it's just, anyways, well, that's another conversation. So my body, my choice, property rights. Do I own what my body can produce in the form of farming, or what my mind can produce in the form of designing equipment to make farming easier? Because if I can make farming easier, I can farm more. If I can farm more, I can eat more, but then I can also feed more people. So there's an incentive not just for me to be able to feed myself more and be satiated, but also if I can feed more people, that enables me to trade. And so this is the foundational concept of capitalism, is owning your body, having agency of what it can create, and being able to trade with other people who also are creating. Capitalism says, yes, you should own your body. And because we want people to be able to efficiently produce, we should incentivize them and encourage them to be innovative and try to enhance their processes. So the idea of always seeking automation and looking for ways to be more efficient, the incentive to do that is the idea that there is a reward at the end of that effort. Now, in communism, or in a centrally planned economy, socialism, where governments believe you do not have the right to own property, thus, everything you produce belongs to the state or the centrally planning agency that then redistributes based on need of each according to their ability, to each according to their need. The communist creed. Fundamentally, you need to ask yourself, do you believe you have the right to retain agency of your mind, your body, and your creations? This is where the conversation should be centered, because absolutely there is another side to this this equation, which is your responsibility to the planet and to the other living beings on the planet, to your culture, to your community. We grant you property rights because we want you to thrive and succeed, because a rising tide raises all ships. I was called privileged for using that expression because my whiteness allows me to maintain that perspective. However, I do not believe we can achieve a world of equity. I'm sorry. That is just not how the universe works. Now, religious and philosophical belief systems are what drive people who want to support communism or capitalism, so that generally people who believe they have rights given to them from God, the right of freedom, conservatives, like capitalism. People who believe there is no such thing as God, people who believe there is no meaning in the universe, nihilism, see a much more functional view of the world where, because there is no underlying authority in the world, you must subject yourself to the collective. Now, there's a lot of people in between these two, so I'm just trying to paint a picture of the polar ends for you. There are a lot of people here in the middle who are not Judeo-Christians, but who are not nihilists and who are not atheists. There are people who have tremendous amounts of spirituality and love in their hearts, and these are people who are feeling disenfranchised from both directions. And that's what the ruling class wants. I agree with the left that we have an oligarchy, that we have an elite ruling class, that we have corruption that has permeated every level of our government and our institutions. So when I see Antifa and I see these far left people rioting, on one part of me says, I see your struggle, I see your pain, you're right. Our systems are fucked. But when you're destroying your own communities, you're not helping. You're dividing. And so that's what I want. I want to create a message and a community of collaborators and individuals who see the balance of the middle path, the middle road. You'll notice my logo is the Tai Chi. I pronounced that wrong, the yin and yang symbol. Because on a universal level, that is one of the most beautiful and easy to delve into philosophies that has just infinite applicability. Look into it. Read the book, The Tao Te Ching. That would be my first book recommendation for philosophy. There's so many more, and I've got a whole bunch more to read, but look into that. And so let's try and circle back. My brain, it does this. Property rights, capitalism, communism. There is a middle path. I believe that. We want people to have the incentive to innovate and create. And that incentive comes from the idea of being rewarded, both internally with the sense of pride for accomplishing something great, but also materially in the form of more resources in order to equip them to continue their efforts of innovating. Often when somebody has a great mind that can innovate and create on a level that is just different from the average person, those people can do so again and again and again. They're not one-trick ponies. I would say most average people are capable of becoming a one or two or three-trick pony. I believe the average person is capable of so much more, but our social constructs and our culture is holding them back tremendously. So in a world where we grant people property rights and we want people to also have a baseline level of support, I see universal basic income as a massive middle road that we should pursue. It would enable entrepreneurial minds. It would enable people to not be stuck in crappy jobs. It would support the family structure. It would begin to help rebuild our communities. It would let people's brains go to a place where they do want to think of new solutions, because we were at a precipice. This culture needs to die. We need to kill this system, the matrix. The United States of America has potential, but it needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's keep freedom and property rights as core tenets moving forward. But let's also remember that we owe the planet that we take from to create. We owe the community that allows us to retain our property rights and that encourages us to create. We have obligations to those who enable us, but we also should not be constrained or morally defeated. That's what communism does. It reduces everyone to the lowest common denominator, morally defeating the individual spirit, which is at the essence the meaning of life, your individual experience of this universe. What can you create? What can you contribute? How hard can you love? Collectivism is something that is awesome in theory, but you cannot force someone to love. You must show them how. Thank you for listening. That was a lot of fun. I'm done. That was, just take what you want from that. Interact, collect, comment, subscribe. Peace.